Bom dia. I am Alan, and I'm here with my wife Leslie, our son Wolf, and our dog Greer. We are from the United States and now live in Portugal on the beautiful Island of Madeira. We would like to thank all of our subscribers for being here. And for anyone new, we hope to earn your subscription today. It's that time again. Our community has come up with their top moving abroad questions. We would love for you to join the community and not miss a video. One of the subjects that comes up on our videos is why do we not present like everyone else on YouTube? We actually have reasons. And they start with us having fun listening to my voice talking in monotone. For us, we would have a blast grabbing a beer and yelling at the TV as our video plays. Things like, oh my God, speed it up. Really? Are we going to have to watch any more driving shots? I'm going to stick toothpicks in my eyes. Although our reasons have developed from there. So, not to disappoint, here we go. Let's talk about it. We hope you will find our journey helpful as you work to navigate your own. It'll be fun. Vai ser divertido.
So Alan, one of our viewers was asking about a bank account. They've heard that it has to be fully funded for 3 months prior to submitting for your visa. And did we find that to be the case for us? I think when we came here, we just did the minimum amount into the bank account. Is that correct?
Right, it was. When we came here on our scouting trip last summer, July and August, we opened a bank account with the minimum required amount at that time, and then went back to the States. And once getting back to the States, we fully funded the account at that point. So, and then it was before we got back, and we submitted our visa application then. But before we got back to the island, time had expired, and it was at least 2.5 months of fully funded in the account, and probably a full almost 5 months before the CEF appointment.
Right. So it was fully funded for about 2.5 months before the visa was approved.
Right.
Working on your visa, you have to get an FBI report. Obviously, that would be something that's done in the U.S., but you need that criminal report done regardless of what country you come from. So in the U.S., the process for doing that is you go online to the FBI site, you fill out their online form, and you pay the minimal amount of money that it is. And then from there, you have to take that, you'll get an email with an ID and a number on it, which you'll then take and have fingerprints done. You can ask for a fingerprint card and have that fingerprint card mailed in, which will then make that process, 8 to 12 weeks to get that done. Or you can go to a specifically registered company or group that can process electronic fingerprints, or the post office. Post offices don't do it all over the United States, hence why there is 2 different options, which you'll see on the FBI site. Once you've done that, you take your FBI form, you go to, in our case, we went to the post office, we had our fingerprints done. Those were sent in, you have to pay for that as well, that's a separate fee. Those were sent in, and we literally had our FBI report back to us in a matter of days. We also paid for an additional copy to be emailed to us because you cannot open the envelope. It must remain sealed. So when your FBI report comes back, regardless of whether you did it with electronic fingerprints or with a mail-in card, do not open the envelope. You have to keep it that way to send it into VFS or the consulate when it's time to apply for your visa.
If you like our content, you can support us by commenting, hitting the like button, subscribing, and or joining our Patreon community.
Another Chris, and it is regarding oil changes on cars. So obviously that is an Alan thing, and they want to know, Alan, how much does it cost? Is it expensive here on the island of Madeira like it is in the United States? Do they have the drive-through little Valvoline stations and that kind of thing? So what can you tell them?
Well, I've not seen any place that has like a quick change oil change place. Most of the places that you have to go are regular dealerships or independent repair facilities to get that done. Now, because I service my own vehicle, I don't know what the actual cost would be to visit one of those places, but I can tell you, to purchase the oil, it's in liters, it's about the same price that you'd pay for the oil in the United States, believe it or not, even though the fact we're on an island. So to purchase the oil, the raw product is about the same.
And have you had to purchase filters for the Bug yet, or did you bring them with you?
There's no filter on a Volkswagen Bug.
Well, shows you what I know. There's no filter on a Volkswagen Bug.
It has a screen in the oil pan.
So you just take the screen out and
Clean
wing it through the air and slap that sucker back in?
Yeah, clean it off in a solvent tank and then put it back in with a new gaskets. So you've been spared. You don't know that. But
No, I don't change
that's
the
what you
oil.
do. And actually, the air filter is not an air filter. It's an oil bath air filter. So it's an antique, what they used back in the 20s and 30s. It's a oil, the filter media is actually a bath of oil that the air percolates through to filter out the dirt. So
So there you go, guys.
So there's no
Lots
filter
of
in my car
information
either.
that you probably don't want
Probably
to
didn't want to
know.
know unless you have a Volkswagen, then you already knew that. So,
That's true.
But the basic cost of maintenance, I would think it would be the same.
I have a question that came from Michael, and he wants to know why, since we live on the island of Madeira, we had chose to maintain Alan's Medicare while here in Portugal. So Alan, if you want to cover that for us, that would be great.
Sure. Well, we wanted to make sure that our decision to come here to live was correct. So we kept everything intact to make sure before we made any changes. But after a year, we decided there was no sense in paying for the B any longer and kept the A only and withdrew from the B. Now, if we ever want to start up the B again and return to the United States, there'd be a 10% penalty for the rest of my life for doing that. So I better have made the right decision.
Right, and it's cumulative. It's 10% a year for the rest of your life. So
Right.
it's cumulative. So you need to run the numbers to make sure that's the right thing for you before you walk away from it. It's also not something that you can do online or by accident. You have to literally get a hold of somebody at the Medicare, offices, and you're going to fill out forms and have them witnessed, so that it's just not something you could do by accident. So no worries there.
Right.
I have a series of pet questions that have come from Tracy and Simon because obviously they're planning on bringing their pets, and we brought ours. So we're pretty well versed in this subject. So Alan, your first question is, did you drop off your lovelies at the U.S. airport and then not see them again until you arrived at the vet check area in Madeira?
That's basically correct. We scheduled ahead of time with the airline and the O'Hare Airport, the one we flew out of, and the procedure there was to take the pets to the baggage claim check-in, just like you would a regular bag, check the pets in there, and you basically said bye, and you did not see them again until you arrived in Madeira. Even though we had a connection flight, they were still out from out of our view until we arrived in Madeira. But they were well handled and taken care of, so it was not an issue.
So that everybody understands, we flew through Lisbon. So we went directly from O'Hare to Lisbon. So we went straight into Portugal, and they went through Lisbon onto the next plane, and we picked them up here in Madeira and went to the vet check.
Mm-hmm.
Is helpful when you're doing your pets. That we did is we packed, and you can tell them this one, we packed enough food for a few days, and we also packed litter for the cat, and figured we would use the bottom half of the cage because as he rode in a hard side cage, so we could put the litter in there and take the lid off, and it kind of acted like a litter box when we got here immediately. However, we did run into a litter issue. If you want to tell that story.
I'm trying to pass customs at one of the airports. I can tell you that the litter shows up as an explosive in the image. So we had quite a time. We ended up just taking the litter that we brought with us to use and throwing it in the closest garbage can because that was not good. So don't worry about litter. You're not going to be able to bring it. So I want to tell you about is make sure on arrival that you pre-schedule a veterinarian visit here on the island of Madeira because they cannot get through customs without a vet looking at the animals, checking them first. So it's essential. You have to schedule that ahead of time.
Right, right. Then the last part of the question that they asked about pets is, do we have somebody help us get all that together? And no, we didn't. We just brought everything and ran to the grocery to buy the litter that obviously we'd had to throw out on the way here. But it wasn't a big deal. We had to go buy, simple things like milk and eggs as well. So they have it at the grocery store, just like in the U.S. So it wasn't an issue.
Sure. They have groceries and everything you can buy in the U.S. pretty much here too. So that's not a problem.
How did we get we had 7 large pieces of baggage, we had 2 pet cages, we had 3 people that we had to get from the airport to the Airbnb that we were staying in for our first 5 days.
We had pre-scheduled a big van that would hold all our luggage, our pets, and ourselves to take us from the airport here in Madeira to the Airbnb. So that was not an issue once we had it scheduled.
Then one of the questions that somebody had asked is the Airbnb. Obviously, we set that up in advance to make sure we had an Airbnb that would accept us with 2 pets and 3 people, and and that's not that difficult to find here on the island. There's a little bit of a surcharge, but it really wasn't much. And we did that simply because we were here a few days before we actually here the day our apartment was ready. However, we wanted time to be settled because our apartment, we needed to go shopping and buy all of our bedding and have things delivered to the house. So in order to have time to shop for 5 days, we had an Airbnb. The other question is, did we have to go out and go shopping and buy bedding and towels and the basics when we first got here? And is it the same for everybody?
Well, it depends on the apartment. In our case, the apartment that we rented, the long-term apartment, not the Airbnb, was minimal. I mean, it was pretty much a bare bones. So we needed some time to go out and purchase not only the bedding, but essential basic beds, couch, table, and things like that too. So the extra days were handy for that. But every apartment is different. You need to check with the landlord to see how the apartment is furnished, or if it is furnished, and what equipment it may or may not have.
Right. And just so you know, it's very easy to find shops. They're everywhere on the island. There's 3 huge malls on the island in order to shop for all your basic incidentals. Obviously, when you get here, you're going to be going to the grocery anyway. There's a grocery in every one of those malls, so you can knock it all out in one fell swoop. And even if you don't have a car, take a taxi, buy some bags, and you're off to the races. So there we go.
Please give us your thoughts in the comments below. We have made the process of connecting with us for a one-on-one meeting or to receive access to our trusted vendor listings simpler. Everything is now available in our Patreon. Our Patreon link and many of the websites or contacts we talk about can be found in the description of our videos. We hope you will continue to come along with us on our new adventure. We are grateful for the opportunity that we've been given. Life is short. We should have done this sooner. Please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell to help us grow. The next stage in your life is a journey. Enjoy it.